be a contract in our system that we can build and you can put it out on the portal. So even though I'm using the word contract, it's an agreement between you and the employee, okay? So if we go into contract maintenance, I have a bunch of different contracts built. So you can have more than one. You could have a contract for your administrators, a contract for your certified staff. If I remember right, Deer Valley, don't you have first year, second year?
Yeah, first year.
Second year, and then
Second will be
returning.
9 months, 10 months, and the waive for retirees.
Yeah, so you have a bunch of different
Yeah.
contracts depending on how long they've been with the district, and you move them to the different contracts after their first year. They go to the
They
second.
reassign it in the position and pay.
Exactly. You mass assign it and you reassign
Yeah.
it in positions and pay. Yeah, okay. So anyways, if I open up these different documents, I'm gonna open up the teacher's contract just to show you. And I don't know if you look, I am on a pre-release because we are beta testing, okay? And when I opened this up to prepare for this meeting last week, I saw something new. And so I'm like, oh, this has to do with the good stuff that Carrie was bringing, okay? So, yeah, so I think you're gonna be, and when I went to the actions, I saw some new stuff, get template and that. So I have a feeling that this is gonna be where you pop in the template for the customized contract that Carrie mentioned, but I haven't seen it. The programmers and developers are keeping it under wraps. We tried to get more information, but they're making us wait too, so.
25th, man, I'm registered.
25th. But here you can see, you can give each contract a document name, a document type, and a document title, okay? And so these three fields will appear at different places on the contract, okay? And I got all these different tabs to go through, okay? So remember when I was showing you the printed contract and I said this is the print before information and this is the print after? That's the second tab. So here's the print before information, okay? So that was up towards the top, okay? All the legal jargon that you guys get from your lawyers, you know, to put into the contract, or you have it run by your lawyers. And then we have the print after detail. And if you wanted to, you could have maybe your administrator give you a Word doc, or maybe you already have this in a Word doc. You could rewrite what you need to rewrite for the year, do a spell check in Word, and then copy it from Word and paste it in here. Okay, so copy and paste. So if I right click, I can do my paste function, or I should be able to paste it in here if I have copied, okay? But we don't have spell check in here, so you'll want to. Also, I was thinking, Carrie, with that customizable contract, I've had clients, they want certain things bolded and underlined in that, and we can't do that with our current contracts. That's gonna be another thing that is gonna be nice, that, with the customized contracts, so, okay. But are we good with these two steps? So your print before, your print after, okay? And then we have the contract signature. So if we have a signature that we have to put in, you can do that through the actions, and it's just actions, get signature. You'll have to find where it's saved off as a PDF, okay? And then just pull it in Vision. So it's just get signature, figure out where it is, and then pull it in, okay? If you have a new person signing the contract, do you know how to get the signature bitmap? How do you do it?
Oh, we have to send a request to you.
Exactly. That's how you do it.
Yeah, you have to
Right
sign-
answer.
There's a template that you send.
There is,
and then you
with
have
5
them sign,
signatures, yeah.
And you have them sign.
Uh-huh.
Very nice, within the box.
Within the box, yep,
Line.
if they go
Yes.
outside the line, so you make them do it again, yeah,
Yeah,
and then you
we
send it in
off
to us.
support, and they send us a file back.
Thank you,
And
you did
we-
great.
we can-
Okay, so if you find you need new signatures, electronic signatures, you're gonna call the support line and one of us will answer the phone and we'll send you the document, okay? Cool.
Is that the same with the purchasing?
It is.
The signature,
Uh-huh,
because I put the signature in for the purchasing.
uh-huh. So
I
did you,
can do the same here.
if you know, if, we just get the signature, we clean it up.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, so did you actually clean up, and you made
Well,
it the right
I
size?
had them do 4 signatures.
And you
they
scanned
picked
it in?
the one that they want, and I scanned it in and put it in for the purchase order.
Perfect,
But
okay.
if it's the same way, okay.
Yeah, yeah, I've had to do that on the support line,
Okay.
you know, but yeah, you wanna make
I
sure
thought
it's
it
the
was
right
doing
size.
something wrong.
No,
Okay.
you can do it that way if you want to, but I did wanna make sure that it is a service that
It's a
we
service,
provide.
yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Okay, yeah,
And if you
'cause-
figure it out yourself, that's good too.
Yeah, I mean, you just saved a support
Awesome,
call,
yeah.
so, yeah.
I'm sure we did, so.
Cool, okay. So in the middle of the contract were all those different options, and if you look on page 127, we have options for the employee, and on page 128, we have options for the position, okay? So here you can choose to have the employee's mailing address, okay? That was an option, you can have their hire date, so all these different fields are different things that you can select, check on or check off. So, and I bet if we polled every person here, they would have different things checked on and checked off. Okay, so any questions here or comments? No? Okay. You probably want your start date and end date of the position, the total amount of days. Maybe you'd have the work calendar, maybe not, but you'd go ahead and select those options, okay? So, and it's just a matter of checking them on or deselecting them, okay? And are you guys interested in having the budget votes? And I'm looking at the net because I know that she's a business manager, so.
Well, it would sure help,
So, I've always wondered about this one with,
no,
yeah.
no, it helps when they're in the paper form though. Because since it's all, payroll can go back and look and position and everything, usually for payroll.
Okay.
Usually they'll get a copy of the contract in their office for verifying, oh, this is the code, it's the same. But that's
Gotcha.
in the paper format.
Yeah.
So now that it's all, if it was all electronic.
Yeah, they wouldn't really see that.
It would be necessary to print it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
that's just my thought. I mean, maybe somebody has a different opinion, but.
Okay. Yeah, and everybody, there may be differing opinions depending on the district, but yeah, I was just curious about that one. And then the electronic signature, this has to do with I-Defense, okay? So basically what we're seeing here is, remember those 3 questions that I asked? These are user-defined fields, and I'll be revisiting this when we get into the portal portion, okay? User-defined fields are in the security area of Visions, okay? So you being in HR may or may not have access to this, okay? And again, we'll talk about these, but here you can see user-defined field number 1. We created one called number of checks, and then we put in instructional text. This stuff right here is called HTML, okay? So we're telling it we want it maybe larger, and we want it bolded, and that. So you can go out to a website called, what is it? Something Monkey? Survey Monkey that has all the different HTML and how to make it green with.
Baby puppy monkey?
That's it?
Or is it puppy baby monkey?
You're a
I don't
genius,
know.
Mike.
Also, no,
Genius once again.
That's just really gross.
That was way
Yeah.
too weird.
That was way weird, yeah, yeah. But there's a website out there, something, you could just do a search on HTML codes, and then you could change the font size and all that.
W3 Schools is a good one.
W3 Schools?
Are you talking about WebMonkey?
I think that's what it is, WebMonkey. It might be.
Okay.
Where it has all the different HTML. and-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh. But if you wanted it formatted a little bit different, you have to put in the you know, the carrots, yeah, yeah, with the different sizes and that. Okay.
There was
Yes,
one called htmldog.com.
HTML dog?
.com.
Okay, cool, cool.
There you go.
Okay, but we'll be coming back here and revisiting this, because I'm gonna have to show you in security where to set this up. So when we get to publishing up in the portal, we'll talk about this again. I'll come back and revisit this. But here you can see I did set up 3 questions. 1 is the number of checks. 2 is I've read and saved the contract, and 3 is I agreed to the terms of the contract. Okay. So are we good here? Cool. Okay. Okay. So after you set up your various contracts in the system, you have to link them to the position, and I think it was Tiffany that mentioned that, right, earlier today, okay? So to link them in the position, I can go into the employee folder and employee positions and pay. And I'm just gonna hit apply selection here, okay? And so I'm gonna find Peter Abbott. Hit apply. Okay, and here's his position. And so if I want a contract generated, it's going to generate it if I link that contract in this field. So this is the magic field that you have to worry about. And when I say a position, I mean both positions and supplemental pays. Okay. So a supplemental pay will go into the addenda section, and then a position will be in the position section of the contract, and you'll see that in a few minutes. Okay. So here I have the superintendent. And right now I have him attached to an activities document, okay? But I would just go in and change this, so maybe to the teacher's document, okay? And then click OK, okay? So that's how you could update one. You're like, but I have 5,000 employees, you're gonna make me open up each and every employee and do this? No, I'm not. We do have a mass update, okay? So to mass update this field, I'm going to rearrange my grid here to get that contract by typing the letter C. Okay. So right now it's attached to the activities document. And what I can do here is I can mass assign by going to actions. And it's mass update records. And I'm going to select the contract field. And I'm going to make this the teacher's contract. And then you have to put in a reason for change when you do these mass updates. If I click OK like this, it's going to require a reason for change. Okay, so I'll just put in cuz. So there we go. And then it's going to update all the positions in the grid. I'm going to say yes. There we go. Okay. So you'll have to filter down only on the records. That's the biggest mistake I could think, is if you weren't careful, you know, and you assign some to a different contract and you didn't filter down on only the records you want to update, but you can mass update them quickly.
Kind of have inconsistent behavior. Some is you only highlight the row will be updated. Some is anything shown on the grid will be updated.
Yeah, so I guess it probably depends on the programmer that worked on it, or, yeah, the development specs, yeah. But you want to read, you know, the notes, because sometimes it will say, you know, it will only do the selected contracts, and other times it will say, you know, it will update all records. So, yeah, yeah. And again, you know, as you're learning this too, it's not a bad idea to do it in a provisional, because I know, Tiffany, you do a lot of things in a provisional before you do a live, just so that you know how certain things are gonna act, and so there's nothing wrong with that. And does everybody know what a provisional is? Okay, you know you can create a play area and work in the play area if you chose. Okay, and that's a provisional database. And if you had questions about it, if you don't really know, you can always call in the support. We can explain it. And then, do you do the provisionals for the sites, or do they do their own?
We'll create them.
You'll create them for
Yeah,
them?
then just
Okay.
need to put a request in.
Great, okay, so that's Ken's job, one of your many jobs, right? You'll refresh their provisionals, beautiful, okay, yeah, so.
So if you put them in provisional, can you just move it over to actual?
No, that's not what happens.
Yeah, yeah.
We have to do it over in the line.
But that takes less time than correcting the errors
Yeah.
sometimes, so.
Yeah, yeah. Or sometimes you'll get everything set up as far as you think you want to go in the live, and then you'll call Ken and ask him to refresh the provisional, and then you'll see, okay, yeah, I see I gotta fix this person, this person, this person, this person, and then you can just fix it in live and go on from there, so. So, I mean, you know, there's different ways for you to handle it. You could go as far as you feel comfortable in the live with the setup. Maybe create the contracts, put them in, mass assign them to the positions, and then at that point, make the provisional, so that you could see, you know, how to, or how they're gonna look, so, yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So, now this is not taking into account raises, is it?
Okay,
And-
yeah,
and-
not yet.
And one other question, so we have a lot of employees that have a coaching position, so we don't want to include that, so how do we not include?
Okay, so if I wanted to remove, I have a group term life, that shouldn't show up on his contract, right? So what I could do is maybe filter on that, and then I could mass assign to remove it, or open up the record and delete, you know, the contract from them. But I should be able to mass update and tell them I want contract, but I want this blanked out because I don't want it to appear on the contract. Remove from contract, and then click OK, and tell it yes. And then here, okay, so see, now it's blank, so that secondary position won't appear on the contract. Okay, so that answers that question. Now, to answer your other question is, if you use salary schedules, and do you use salary schedules at your district? Okay. We have this projection tab, salary schedule projection, okay? And this projection amount. If you knew what your salaries were gonna be in the new year, we could go out to the salary schedule and update these fields. And then, so you're not impacting their pay, because an employee gets paid from this field, so we're not impacting this field, okay? So if somebody needed like a step increase and maybe 2%, right? What we would do is, and if you guys have done retro pay in the system, it's kind of the same process, or business managers might do budgeting. But if I go back out here, if I go into salary schedules, salary schedule maintenance, and I'm just gonna open up one of these salary schedules. So, let's see, classified, I want a certified, okay. Okay, so what you would wanna do is copy the schedule over to the projection tab, and I'm just gonna go through this real fast. You'd probably call in the support and ask for help if you've never done it before, okay? And I'm on the support line, so one of us would answer the call, okay? So, yeah, or at least for Karine and Deer Valley and Peoria, but some of you would call in Marquesa. You talk to Ken on the line, okay? But it's just a matter of copying schedule to projection, so I'm gonna do that real fast, Okay, so now I know tabs 1 and tab 3 are exactly the same, right? Then I'm gonna copy tab 2 to tab 4, and why am I copying this over? Because I don't know, maybe the business manager was doing projections on the budget. They gave everybody a 15% increase on this tab. And I don't wanna, but they're telling me to give a 2% increase. So I wanna make sure that I copy it over, because I know that the schedule is what they're actually being paid from. Okay, so I copy tab 1 to tab 3. Then I'm gonna copy tab 2 to tab 4. So this shows me who's in these positions. If I double click, I'm just gonna show this real fast. Shows me who's in the position and what the position is, okay? So if I copy this over from tab 2 to tab 4, that's going to actions. And copy current link to projection link, okay? And I want to say yes. Okay. And then if I go to the projection tab, here's where I can give a 2% increase. Okay, so I'm going to go to actions. I highlight everything, go to actions and apply a formula. And I'm going to multiply it times 1.02. And I got to put an asterisk there because I forgot. Okay. And then just click OK. So now if I look at step 1 here, it's 41,310. But on the first tab, it's still 40,500. Okay? And then if I wanted to move everybody down a step because they had an additional year of service, I can go to this projection positions and mass move everybody down. So if I go here, mass move positions down. Warning, all filled positions will be updated. Do you want to continue? Say yes. And then this will move everybody down a step. But if they're at step 10, they won't go any further. They'll just stay at step 10. Okay? Yeah. And then once this gets done, I have to push this back out to the positions. But like I said, you'd call into support, we'd help you with the first couple until you feel comfortable with that.
Do you need to copy FTE to projection FTEs? Do you want to do that one?
No, no.
The FTE have no impact?
No, FT is just a view. It just shows you. So basically, when I was in training, I used to say the positions and the projected positions are warm bodies, okay? But the projection FTEs and the FTEs, they update, but they're the full-time equivalent looking at the position. So it's just a view-only type
Okay.
thing. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So here, so if I looked at here, I would see 9 warm bodies, right? But if I looked over here, I would see, well, that's interesting. I think I got to save it and open it. But I would see, like, if somebody was a 0.5 FTE or a 0.25 in that position. So I would see counts on the FTEs, okay? But the last step in updating this, for your question, is to go to actions, and I need to update the positions. So it's update the projection amount on linked positions. And so, again, this can be kind of scary, so I'm going to say it again, you'd call into support until you feel comfortable with it. So this is going to update the projection amount, and I'll say yes. And we'll look at one of these when I get done, okay, so you can see that. Yes?
Why isn't there any options for the min-max salary schedule?
Yeah.
We are all in position.
And Mike and I were talking about this because I was asking him before the class started. And he's like, everybody's getting away from the regular salary schedules, the row count, and
We don't have any way of doing a projection, so it's limiting us from even
Thank you.
doing it on our pocket.
And all I can say is, it's just, I think it's
Without
something that
touching.
needs to be heard.
So the projection,
Yeah,
I am correct in that the projection amount for a position that is attached to a min-max salary schedule cannot be updated. Any way, no how.
I mean, you can
No.
manually
Min-
update
min-max.
it. I'm gonna have to test that. I'm gonna have to
We have
test
tried
that
everything.
and get back to you.
On the
Okay.
min-
Have you called into support with it?
I don't know that she has.
I did call to support for this issue. The base issue on the position, your base salary is a projection amount, is zero position. So there's no way, even if you manipulate your base is zero, projection is nothing. So Thailand needed to do something to write a script to copy whatever amount to populate to your projection amount. Then you go through this process to copy from regular to projection and position to projection, and then you go to formula to the position, actually position there, then you can apply formula to the projection instead of go through here.
Right.
So first,
Right. We have budget amounts in our positions. All of our positions have budget amounts, and it's
But
based on.
you use the min-max.
But we use them, they're attached to a min-max salary schedule. Even if, like what you are talking about, if we had the option and action that says, I want to apply, we can go into the positions and pay. I want to apply to the projection amount.
there's a,
Calculate a projection amount.
And I'll
There's
have
action.
to,
That's all we need.
there's an action is applied to projection amount in the
hey,
position
Carrie,
and pay.
can you email that to me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I can take it as a support call and look into it. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
just-
up on the min-max salary schedules, but I'll be glad to test it for you.
I think part of the problem is we've been unable to do anything with min-max schedules for so long. You don't see any support calls for it because we just kind of got used to it. It just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
But I thought they were doing some stuff to fix things for it. And I'm not sure where we are programmatically.
I
So-
believe you can apply a formula to positions.
That's what I thought.
But you
or-
cannot touch the projection amount.
Okay.
It's the
Okay.
projection amount.
But
Let's play
I
with.
wanna, but I
Yeah.
do wanna test it, I do wanna
Yeah.
test it, I do have one min-max here, okay, and just real quick, I'm gonna go to actions and, let me see, copy schedule to projection, okay, and then, let me just see here, copy current links to projection links, and then jump here, and thank you very much. And then go here and apply a formula. And I'm gonna put in an asterisk 1.05 and hit OK. No cells up. Shame on me. Highlight these and then actions, formula. Equal 1.05.
Oh, is it asterisk?
Up,
That's right.
yeah, thank you. There we go. Okay, and then if I look at somebody on here, whoops, let me open that up. Because this is at 65 and 125, projection is still the same, but let's look at somebody now. Because before I do that, let me run the update for the positions, actions. Copy
do that.
No,
See that?
yeah, let me
doesn't do
try
anything
this.
with options.
Yeah, so it's not allowing me to update the positions. Carrie's gonna email me on that, I'll let you know. So if I emailed you, could you email out to the East members? Okay.
I'll send it, well, Mike is the one that has the distribution list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I already got the email ready with all the handouts and everything and the
Okay,
webinar update. I'll wait until after this Tuesday in case something else comes up.
okay, cool.
So are there any other options other than, I'm just trying to think, like, if you dumped all your positions out to Excel, is that a field that you could even, I don't even manipulate it?
but I don't know if there's something new in the quarter one, so. But I want to say that they did do some things with the min-max salary schedule to try to make it better. But I'm not sure exactly, and it sounds like it might not be addressing this particular issue, so, okay. But we'll look at it, and again, you know, our programmers need to know that you guys are coming off of regular salary schedules and you're doing min-max. So,
In the position and pay, actually, you can go to action and apply formula to